Good morning and welcome. It's Marina from Oakfield Safety, and we have our topic here today about having creating routines for a less stressful morning. So, if you are joining me this morning, welcome. If you are joining me in a replay, welcome. Feel free to post comments, whether you're watching live or in the replay, and I can respond to those. So, we're going to dive right in and get started. Now, our topic today, it might be new to you. Uh, maybe your kids are just into their tweens, not even hitting their teens yet. Or maybe you've tried a bunch of things and this is a refresher, but whatever the case, I'm hoping that you will find something useful and above all, be encouraged. It's easy not to notice when we have a good morning. Like, think back. If I said, when was the last time you had a bad morning? You could probably think of one quickly. But a good morning, sometimes it's easy to focus on the bad things. The same as, in the news, it seems like it's only news if it's like dramatic and eventful. And when things are going right, nobody seems to notice. And the same is true for our mornings. However, it's hard to make something good if you don't even know what made it good. Have you ever made dinner for your family where everybody loved it? They ate quietly because they were enjoying it so much. And you thought, oh my goodness, how can this be? Like, no complaints, everybody loved it. I bet you jotted down whatever it was you did. If you're not a recipe follower, like I am, then you would be scrambling to write down, okay, what did I do? Because I need to do that again because everybody loved it. It worked. I mean, who doesn't want people to rave about the food they make? For real. Now, creating a stress free morning, we're going to use those same principles. We're going to figure out what was going right. When was it going right? Like, what day was it? Because that matters. We'll talk about that in a bit. And for whom was it going right? Was it a good day for you, but not so good day, a good day for some of your kids? Was it a really good day for one of your kids? So who was having that good day? And then we can figure out what changes we need to make it good most of the time. What changes do we need to make it good most of the time? Because of course, we're still going to have a bad morning on occasion. Of course. But let's see how we can have more of those stress-free or stress reduced, at least, mornings. Now, as your kids are growing up, we want them to have more responsibility. And sometimes it's easy just to do everything for them. We figure, I'm just going to have a great morning. I'll just get all the stuff done. I know that it's done. And then we can move on. However, at what point are we going to transfer some responsibility to our kids? Unless we want them living with us forever, which maybe you do. But if you're tired of yelling and nagging in the morning and you just end up doing everything and you're feeling this load and it keeps getting heavier of all of the things you have to do, it's time to do some training to get kids to be more responsible so that they can take some of the load. They're capable. They just need to be shown what to do. And it doesn't mean they don't need you. It doesn't mean you can't do anything for them ever. You can do acts of kindness just because, but we want to know that they're capable of doing it on their own so that when they are home by themselves, we feel confident that they have the skills they need and they feel confident that they have the skills they need to take care of themselves during that time. And it will be peace of mind for you. So here we go. First thing, start with the smallest thing that will make the biggest impact. It's tempting to go in and overhaul the whole schedule and try to make it this magical, amazing morning by changing everything. I caution you against doing that. Instead, we're going to find a small thing that will make a big difference. Or it's kind of like they used to run these logs down the river, and sometimes there would be this log jam. And usually it would be one log that was causing this huge jam. And if you could just remove that, everything else would flow. That's kind of what we're looking for. This seemingly small thing, we're going to yank it out, change it to make a big impact. For example, when my kids were younger, we were able to eat breakfast every day together. It was a great time. We had a little routine that we did, and we were able to keep that going. And then they hit the tweens and early teens, and there was a lot of tension around that. All of a sudden, that wasn't working anymore. It was hard to commit to sitting together at the same time because they had other chores, other commitments, different things, and it wasn't working. It was all of a sudden, the morning was stressful, and we were trying to keep this thing together when really we needed to make some changes. So we made one small change, and it has made a huge difference. So everyone still needs to get up at the same time. Like, let's have a decent, this is the time we get up. But we don't need to sit at the table for breakfast. So we have breakfast options. Eating breakfast is not an option. I think it's still important that people are nourishing themselves in the morning. But instead of sitting down together, we're all doing our various things. And I realized that the thing that was super important to me was this making sure we connected in the morning. So we retained the essence while switching up the routine. We made one small change, and it just eased that stress we were experiencing in the morning. So, what morning ideal are you hanging on to? You might have like Instagram is great for posting these beautiful pictures of the ideal, and maybe that's what's in your head. I know I had an idea in my head of what it should look like, what I wanted it to look like. But what is the essence of what you actually want from that mental image? Because that's what you can try to create in a different way that is less stressful. We want to figure out this underlying goal and see if we can achieve it in another way. So for us, connection was the key, and it just looks different now. And that's okay. Number 2, not every day has to look the same. This was a big thing for me too. I don't know, maybe you've already got your schedule sorted out and you aren't one of those people who try to have a schedule that you follow every day that's predictable. But for so long, I tried having a schedule that was predictable. We do the same thing every day, and it doesn't work. And it especially doesn't work as they're in their tweens and teens and they're going different places. Now we have these variable schedules, and it doesn't work to have a master schedule. However, if we let go of that, so there's a lot of letting go and reframing. So if we let go of the idea that every day has to be the same, you get up at 7:30, you do this, you do this, you do this, whatever the case may be for your family. If we let go of that and instead say, oh, what do Tuesday mornings look like? Okay, Tuesday mornings look like this. And they look completely different from Wednesday mornings, and that's okay. But you know what? Tuesday and Friday are kind of similar. All right. So you start to look at the individual days and see what does the perfect morning look like for Monday? What does it look like for Tuesday? So then you can start getting routines for that particular day. And the stress will ease because you're not expecting Tuesday to look like Monday or Thursday to look like Tuesday. And the stress kind of goes away. Number 3, be intentional about creating routines. So these are all well and good. We can say, make a small change that will make a big difference. We can say not every day has to look the same. But unless we're intentional about making the change, and this is where it's on us. So it's not on our kids to make the change. They don't have the skill set to do that yet. But we need to be intentional about making the changes, communicating those changes, discussing and getting input from our kids. They're old enough as they hit their tweens and teens. And it's going to be different for each child. So Tuesday morning for one child might look slightly different than Tuesday morning for another child. And you think, oh my goodness, how am I going to keep track of all of this? That's the beauty, is we're trying to get your child to take more responsibility so it's not all on your shoulders. So what is your child struggling the most that's holding them up in the morning? Again, back to that log jam. And then for that child, on a Tuesday morning, that's their worst day, start with that worst day and go, okay, how can we make Tuesday mornings better for you, this one child? And what is the one thing that you can change to make it better on Tuesday mornings for that child? What can they do? One thing that's going to have a ripple effect and make that whole morning better. Then you're going to work together with them to create a step-by-step plan. Keep it super simple, like 3 to 5 things tops. Do they need to get up earlier? Do they need to sleep in a little bit? One or the other. Do they need to have a different kind of breakfast? Do they struggle with having their clothes ready? Do they struggle with their morning routine as far as getting their face washed, hair combed, like all of that kind of hygiene and physical care? Whatever is holding them up, then brainstorm with them and say, well, how do you think we could fix this? Help them take ownership of that. And then make a little routine, put it on a recipe card so that you have it, so you don't have to think about it. It's not going to be a habit. It's not just going to magically happen. It's going to take some intentionality. But once you know what the problem is, you have a chance of correcting it. And it could be in the course of your morning, when we're talking about log jams, it could be that one child is holding everything up. So then, without making that child feel bad, just say, okay, so we're going to start switching up our mornings, and everybody's going to make, what is your morning routine? Let's sit down. Let's do this. Let's have a morning 5. What are the 5 things that you're going to do every morning? And get all of your kids to do it. And then you can give a little bit extra attention to the child that is struggling the most with that. And then, like I said, help them figure out what is holding them back and then help them solve that problem. So if your mornings are stressful, you find yourself yelling or nagging or just doing everything because it's easier, a little bit of reflecting, planning, training will go a long way. Your kids need these executive function skills. They need to build them and grow them. They don't just magically appear as you become an adult. If you look around, you'll notice that there are adults that struggle with attention, memory, organizing, planning, time management, all of these things, but they are skills, which means we can grow and develop. And we can do them. Some kids find them some easier. than others, it doesn't mean they're better. It just means we need to train and keep helping them grow and develop in these things. So I encourage you to think about what is one small thing that if you changed would make the biggest impact. What is one small change that you think each of your kids could make that would make a big difference for them and therefore a big difference for your whole family, the tone of the whole morning? Which day feels the most stressful? Focus on getting that day dialed in first so you don't always, dread Tuesday mornings. You can get that dialed in, reduce the stress, and then think, okay, now what day do we want to change? And then work with your child on creating those routines. Like I said, keep it 3 to 5. Doing morning 5 sounds easy. They can just name them off on their fingers. You can have them on a recipe card. And then you can just say, oh, did you do your morning 5? They know what that means, yes or no. And it's just a little check-in, and they're still accountable for it. So above all, celebrate the wins, celebrate the good days, celebrate the good moments in those mornings. Celebrate when you make a change and it worked. Look for those good things, savor them, and then reflect and adjust. You've got this. You've totally got this. I invite you to go ahead, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back in 2 weeks with more ideas for helping you help your child become independent safely. Until next time, take care.